Hi friends, this is Lady Flora, and this is a part 2 video from the video that I recently did about how I work full-time and homeschool. And this video is about how you can work full-time and homeschool. We make lots of videos on this channel about homeschooling, homeschooling adventures, curriculum reviews, and day in the life videos. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe. In case you're new to this channel, I have a 6-year-old daughter Songbird, and she's the one who is being homeschooled, and I have a 2.5-year-old boy Man Cub, and I am 32 weeks pregnant as we speak. Okay, so my first tip is don't compare yourself and don't compare your child to other families or other kids. Children learn at different paces, and that's never a problem. We tend to feel a little bit of anxiety if our child is behind in a certain subject, but oftentimes they will catch up and be with their peers at a certain time. It might not be when they're 5, it might not be when they're 6, but maybe when they're 12 or maybe when they're 13, they'll be right on the same reading level, or they'll be right on the same math level as their peers are. So just keep at it. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on your children. Don't compare. Comparison is the thief of joy. The wonderful thing about homeschooling is that we can go at our child's own pace. So trust your child, respect their pace. Obviously, keep trying and keep introducing topics to them, subjects to them, and maybe try different things to see what sticks. Maybe your child is more of a hands-on learner. Maybe they are more of a book learner and they like worksheets. Just know that they would not get that option if they were in public school, and you are giving them such a gift by working with their specific learning needs and skills. Tip number 2 would be seize the moment. When you see that your child is interested in something, just grab onto that, and that becomes school. Let's say they're obsessed with Legos. Awesome. So many kids love Legos. This is your time to incorporate Legos into math, into reading, into all of the subjects. You've got learners who want to keep their hands busy, so you can literally be putting the information that they're learning on the Legos. I don't know if you've ever seen that on Pinterest, where they'll have words taped to the Legos, and then they'll have the child sort of make a sentence with the Legos. I know I keep saying Legos, and supposedly you're just supposed to say Lego, but it feels weird when I say Lego, so I'm just going to say Legos. You can do the same thing with math. You can tape numbers to the Legos. You can make equations, simple subtraction and addition equations with Legos, or you could just use Legos as manipulatives. Counting manipulatives, that works too. Okay, let's say for instance they're really into animals. Just embrace that. Get books from the library about animals. Get plastic animals that you can count, that you can use for manipulatives. Read, find some easy readers that are about animals. If your child is interested in the subject, you are blessed. You get that opportunity to explore it with them. And that's also one of the joys of homeschooling, is that you get to bond with your child over a subject that they're very passionate about. So seize that passion and use that for school in whatever way you can. Tip number 3 would be don't be afraid to ask for help. Maybe your mom or your mother-in-law lives in town. If so, you are very blessed. See if she can be involved in some way or another. There's a little bit of an interest, of a curiosity and an enthusiasm for homeschooling in my mom. Now, she doesn't always know what to do, but that's okay. We just give her a little bit of direction. I have a little workbook for her. I have some workbook pages that I send home with her when she's homeschooling my daughter, and that works out great. The other video that I made in this series, I mentioned that my daughter is with my mom 2 days out of a week, and those 2 days are schooling days. So she learns on those days with my mom. But don't forget, there are other homeschooling moms in your area that could be able to help as well. They're already at home teaching their children, and oftentimes adding one more child is not going to be a big strain on them. So talk to them about it, pray about it, research what your options are, and consider asking for help. Maybe you have an aunt, or maybe you have a niece or somebody who can watch your child, and you can set out schoolwork for them to do with your child. They don't even have to teach per se, as maybe they just are there to sort of supervise your child and make sure that your child gets their work done. Tip number 4, I would say, emphasize literacy. When your child can read, they can read directions, they can read instructions on the worksheets, they can read books, and they can learn on their own. Now, not every subject is this way, but many subjects are. So if you emphasize reading first, then later on, your child's going to be able to work a lot more independently, and that is going to give you that time that you need to work on them with the subjects they can't do independently, like perhaps explaining a new math concept. I think it's a good idea, if possible, to do math and reading on a daily basis. And then science, art, history, music, all of those wonderful subjects can be once a week. Embrace technology. I'm somewhat reluctant to do this myself because I like to imagine that my children are just spending time outdoors, learning everything they need to from nature, and then when they come inside, we're counting acorns and we're drawing in our nature journals, and I'm sort of a wannabe Waldorf type mom, but it's not super practical for our lifestyle or our family. So it's not really what happens, but it's often at the edges of our school, and it often inspires us. But I do think there's a lot of wisdom in embracing technology. I'm always amazed at Serena and her channel, The Falco Family, and how she uses iPads to teach her children. They do a lot of math practice and a lot of other subjects on their iPads, and I think it works out beautifully for her family. And I'm not totally against it. I'm just sort of reluctant to embrace it. There are so many wonderful educational apps available. There's so many amazing YouTube videos that are educational. There's just so much you can do with technology and homeschooling. There's teaching textbooks, which is the curriculum that I believe is like a computer program. Your child does the lessons, and then as the parent, you're given the results of their lessons, and then you can grade them, and there's a workbook and a teacher's workbook. Anyways, there's a lot you can do with technology, and oftentimes your state will have a virtual school program. We're in Florida, and we have a virtual school program, which is really cool. Maybe someday I'll use it. I'm not using it at the moment, but it's an option that's available. You can also go to the library. You can check out DVDs on a certain subject that you're interested in, that your child is interested in. And there are so many amazing books that come with CDs where the book is being read out loud to your child. That was one way that I learned a lot when I was a kid, and I think it's a wonderful way of teaching your children, especially when your time with them is very limited. And my 6th tip is you can get very inexpensive workbooks from Walmart and from the dollar store, and these are often by grade level, and that can totally be your curriculum, your complete curriculum, which you can use. Oftentimes these books contain all the subjects that your children would be learning if they were in school, and it's a wonderful way of seeing if your child is on the same level with their peers, not comparing them, of course, but helping to make sure that they are learning what their peers would be learning at the same time. And I especially think this is helpful in the early years, the elementary years. Later on, it might not work so much. I mean, I haven't ever seen a workbook for like 7th graders, but maybe they're out there, I don't know. And my 7th tip, my last tip, would be homeschool whenever you can. We actually homeschool every day, and that's partly because of my schedule and my husband's schedule and my mom's schedule, and we don't spend a long time doing it. We spend maybe an hour and a half every day schooling, and the rest of the day is free play or playing outside or independent reading, which she likes to do, or drawing or crafts or something like that. And we do have a little bit of TV in there too, which I wish we had zero TV, but we do have a little bit of TV in there as well. And there is a lot that can be learned from TV. There are a lot of good questions that come up sometimes. But keep in mind that you can homeschool whenever you want or whenever you can. You don't have to follow a schedule to be a homeschooler. You can homeschool in the evening. You can homeschool during the dinner time hours. When you get home from work, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6, you can sit over the dinner table and go through the workbook together. You can sit on the couch instead of watching TV as a family. You can homeschool together as a family. You can get a lot done other times of the day. It doesn't have to be the same schedule that the public school uses or whatever school's in your area. You can homeschool on the weekends. If you work Monday through Friday, you've got the evening hours you can do, and you've got Saturday and Sunday that you can use for schooling, assuming, of course, your child has some place to go while you're at work. And then there's the morning hours as well. Maybe you don't have to go into work until 10. You know, you can get up at 7 with your child and have several hours, very productive hours of homeschooling before you have to go your way and they have to go their way. And keep in mind that in school, so much of your child's time is taken up by other students, by other children, by the teacher managing a classroom of 25 students. So that's really why school is so long, is because it takes so much time to shuffle the kids from one area to another, to get everyone settled, to get everyone quiet. And there's also a lot of busy work in school that, you know, who's to say that it's really helping, that children are really learning from busy work? I don't know. I don't think so. In my experience of school, there was just so much wasted time, so much sitting around, waiting and just jumping through hoops to please the teacher. And there wasn't a whole lot of high quality learning time. But you are teaching your child at home, and maybe you don't have 8 hours with them, but the hours that you do have with them are golden. And they are going to learn so much more from you because they're with you, because they are with the person that knows them best, and they're with the person that loves them best, and the person that is willing to work with them, to teach them at their level, and to adjust and to acclimate to their learning styles and their learning abilities. Do you homeschool your children and work full-time? I want to hear what your tips are and how do you make it work. If you want to watch the video about how I homeschool, you can check the links above. I'll put it up here somewhere or in the description below, and you can see how we do it. And now I want to hear what you have to say, so like, share, subscribe, and comment away. And after you do that, go outside and have a sublime day.